Charlotte Morrison's scream pierced through the sterile operating room as she lunged forward against the restraints, hands desperately reaching toward the silent blue infant across the room. "No! Check again. She's still there." The medical team exchanged troubled glances as Nurse Bethany Caldwell whispered through tears, "Charlotte, honey, she's gone." But Charlotte's wild, tear-streaked face held something they couldn't understand, a mother's certainty that defied every medical instrument in that room. If you believe in miracles, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop a comment, and tell us where you're watching from. 3 weeks earlier, Charlotte had stood in that nursery, one hand on her swollen belly, the other hanging tiny onesies. At 28, this moment represented 3 years of negative tests, fertility treatments, and endless tears. Her husband Avery walked in carrying a rocking chair. "Our miracle will be here soon," he said. Charlotte smiled, feeling a strong kick. "Our little fighter." They had no idea how prophetic those words would become. The pregnancy had been perfect. No complications, healthy growth, strong heartbeats at every appointment. Dr. Helena Ramos had called it boring in the best possible way. At 39 weeks, they were simply waiting. But on a quiet Thursday evening as Charlotte settled into bed, something felt wrong. The baby, who normally performed acrobatic routines every evening, was still. Too still. Charlotte waited, pressing gently on her belly, trying to provoke a response. Nothing. The silence inside her womb was deafening. "Avery," she called out, voice trembling. He appeared immediately, reading her expression. "I can't remember the last time I felt her move." Avery grabbed her phone and called Dr. Ramos. The conversation was brief. "Come to Riverside Medical Center now. I'll meet you there." The drive felt surreal. Charlotte kept both hands pressed against her belly, silently begging for movement. Avery gripped the steering wheel, breaking every speed limit. They barely spoke, both lost in prayers they couldn't voice. Nurse Bethany Caldwell greeted them with forced cheerfulness. "Let's see what's going on with this little one." She wrapped the fetal monitoring belts around Charlotte's stomach. The room fell silent except for the Doppler probe moving across skin. Then, a heartbeat. Rapid, irregular, concerning. Bethany's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Found her, but let me get Dr. Ramos." Dr. Ramos appeared within minutes, studying the monitor strips with a deepening frown. "The baby's in distress. Heart rate is erratic. We need to get her out now." The words hit like physical blows. "Emergency C-section. Let's meet your daughter." The next 20 minutes became a blur. Consent forms, IV lines, a rapid wheelchair ride through fluorescent corridors. This wasn't how it was supposed to happen. No time to prepare, just urgency and overwhelming terror. In the operating room, Charlotte lay shaking despite warm blankets. Avery sat beside her, masked and gowned, holding her hand. "I'm right here," he whispered. Dr. Ramos worked with swift precision. "Here she comes." Charlotte held her breath, waiting for the cry. But it didn't come. Instead, terrible, absolute silence. "Why isn't she crying?" Charlotte's voice rose in panic. She heard urgent voices, rapid footsteps. Dr. Marcus Thornton's deep voice cut through. "NICU team, we need you now." Avery stood, trying to see. A tiny, motionless infant, dusky blue, being transferred to a warming table. No movement, no sound. Dr. Thornton began chest compressions on the impossibly small body. A respiratory therapist held a mask over the baby's face, squeezing air into lungs that wouldn't inflate. "What's happening? Tell me," Charlotte screamed. The anesthesiologist tried to soothe her. "They're helping her breathe." But Charlotte could see their faces, the growing desperation. 1 minute passed, 2, 5. The compressions continued. Still no respiratory effort, no cardiac response. Avery stood frozen, paralyzed by nightmare. 7 minutes. 8. The energy in the room shifted from urgent to desperate to something darker. Dr. Thornton stepped back, pulling off his gloves. He exchanged a long look with Dr. Ramos. The look said everything. Nurse Bethany appeared at Charlotte's side, mascara running down her face. She leaned close and whispered words that shattered a mother's world. "I'm so sorry, Charlotte. She's gone." They did everything they could. The sound from Charlotte wasn't quite human. "No, no!" She thrashed against the restraints. Avery collapsed into the chair, shoulders shaking with sobs. The operating room fell into terrible silence. The NICU team began disconnecting equipment, but then something shifted in Charlotte. Through tears and anguish, something inside refused to accept what she was being told. An instinct that transcended medical training. "Wait," she gasped. "She's still there. I can feel her. She's still fighting." Dr. Ramos touched her shoulder gently. "Charlotte, I know this is impossible to accept." "No, check again, please. She's there. I know she's there." The medical team exchanged uncomfortable glances. This was grief, denial. Avery tried to pull her close. "Charlotte, we have to let her go." "No, check. Again." Dr. Thornton's face showed compassion and concern. "Charlotte, we performed resuscitation for over 8 minutes. There was no heartbeat, no response. I'm so sorry. Please, one more time, what does it cost you, please?" Her wild eyes locked onto his, and something in her certainty made him pause. "Okay, one more time, only to give you closure." He walked back to the warming table and picked up the Doppler probe. Every eye watched as he placed it against the baby's chest, expecting only silence. The seconds stretched impossibly long. And then, faint at first, a sound emerged. Thump, 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 thump. "Doctor." Thornton's head snapped up, eyes wide with shock. "Oh my God, there's a heartbeat." The room exploded into action. "She's alive. Resume resuscitation." Equipment crashed as team members lunged to the table. Bethany gasped. Dr. Ramos spun around in disbelief, and Charlotte began laughing and crying simultaneously. "Get me surfactant. Increase oxygen. Keep going, baby girl." The tiny chest showed the faintest rise and fall. The heart rate began to climb. 30, 40, 50. "Keep fighting." Avery gave Charlotte a running commentary. Her colors changing, her fingers moved. Then came a noise that stopped everything, a cry, weak, raspy but unmistakably alive. Charlotte sobbed uncontrollably. "We have respiratory effort. She's breathing." Bethany stood with tears streaming. "I've never seen anything like this in 23 years. Dr. Ramos appeared at Charlotte's side. "She's alive, Charlotte. Your daughter is alive." The NICU team wheeled the warming table close enough for Charlotte to glimpse her daughter, so tiny, covered in wires, but alive, fighting. Emma Charlotte Morrison was rushed to NICU. Hours later, Charlotte was wheeled to meet her daughter properly. Emma weighed just 6 pounds, surrounded by equipment. Charlotte touched her hand with one finger. Emma's tiny fingers curled around it. Dr. Thornton came the next morning, visibly emotional. What happened shouldn't have been possible. Emma experienced severe bradycardia. Her heart rate dropped to nearly undetectable levels, maybe 15 beats per minute. When we checked the second time at your insistence, I positioned the Doppler differently and found her. If you hadn't demanded that second check, Emma wouldn't be here. Your mother's intuition literally saved your daughter's life. Days blurred into NICU visits, pumping milk and praying. Emma fought infections and feeding difficulties. On day 5, Bethany appeared. "I told you your baby was gone and I was wrong. I don't know if you can forgive me." Charlotte took her hand. "You came back. You convinced Dr. Thornton to check one more time. You helped save my daughter's life." 27 days after Emma's birth, they received the words they'd prayed for. "You can take her home." Staff lined the hallways, applauding as Avery carried the car seat out. Word of the miracle baby had spread through Riverside Medical Center. 6 months later, Charlotte sat in the nursery's rocking chair, Emma on her lap. The baby had grown into a healthy infant with no lasting effects from her traumatic birth. Charlotte looked at her daughter and felt the weight of how close they'd come to losing all these perfect moments. "That night taught me that hope isn't foolish," Charlotte said to Avery. "Fighting for what you believe, even when everyone says you're wrong. Sometimes that's exactly what saves a life." Emma was still fighting, and if I'd accepted everyone else's truth instead of trusting what I felt, she wouldn't be here. Charlotte turned to face the camera, her expression earnest. "If you're a parent, remember this. You know your child in ways no machine can measure. If something feels wrong, if your instinct is screaming even when everyone says you're overreacting, listen to it. Advocate for your child. Demand that second check. Because the worst thing that can happen is you're wrong. But the best thing is, you save a life. Emma reached up and patted Charlotte's face with chubby hands. Avery joined them by the window, wrapping his arms around both his girls, a family that had faced death and chosen to believe in life. Every heartbeat was a miracle. Every breath was a gift. Every moment was transformed into forever through a mother's unshakable faith. Share your story of intuition in the comments below, and subscribe for more incredible true stories that remind us miracles do happen.